South Africa has lodged an urgent request to the UN court over Israel's military operations in Gaza. South Africa has asked the UN's court to consider whether Israel's plan to extend its offensive in Rafah city needs additional emergency measures to protect Palestinians' rights in an urgent request. This comes after South Africa took Israel to the International Court of Justice last month over allegations of genocide. ICJ then asked Israel to take measures to prevent its troops from killing civilians in the Gaza Strip. However, the court stopped short of ordering a ceasefire and has yet to rule on whether genocide has occurred in Gaza. Sanjeev Srivastava, international affairs expert, joins us for more on this story. Sanjeev, what has prompted this action by South Africa?
I think South Africa has been taking up this issue of Israel's war in Gaza against Hamas. And what South Africa says that Israel is carrying out a genocide. And South Africa is proactively, engaged in opposing this Israel's war against Hamas. And that is what South Africa's own consideration and posture is with regard to this war. And for that to do, I think they have gone on to various international organizations, such as this case which has been taken up by South Africa in this international court. And but this court is yet to give its ruling whether this war is a genocide or not. But South Africa is obviously pursuing this case very, very hard. And at this point of time, when Israel is preparing itself to launch a ground offensive in Rafah, I think South Africa has again taken up this matter to this international court, saying that urgent actions are required to prevent Israel to do so. So I think South Africa's own consideration and posture is very much visible that they oppose this war. But I think international community, including South Africa, in my assessment today, must understand also at the same time that Israel's imperative to defeat Hamas is very much there, and that should be understood even by South Africa. Though I believe that humanitarian crisis must be addressed, so Israel must protect civilians, and with regard to Israel's preparation to launch a major ground offensive in Rafah, I think Israel will have to be very careful. And Israel, if it takes action, major action, ground offensive in Rafah, then there will be a catastrophic situation. And I think Israel will have to give a lot of consideration, because at this point of time in Rafah, more than 1 million people are taking shelter, and those people had those who had moved from northern areas to southern areas have concentrated in Rafah. And that is a bordering area, and from Rafah only the humanitarian aid is coming from Egypt. So I think Israel will also have to take a serious consideration of the humanitarian crisis. That imperative is also there for Israel. But yes, at this point of time, when Israel is preparing for a ground offensive, the various voice of opposition is emerging, and South Africa is obviously taking lead by going to the international court to prevent Israel from doing so. So I think overall, in my assessment today, I think Israel will have to be very, very cautious and careful. And in my assessment, they will have to only carry out low intensity, hard intelligence based surgical strike like operations in Rafah. Though I know that we know that Hamas is strong. Hamas, about 4 battalions are there, those who are hiding within this Rafah area among the various refugee camps, etc. But Israel will have to carry out those operations based on hard intelligence basis only. If they carry out major ground offensive, then a lot of civilians will be killed. Already around 30,000 people have died in Gaza. So I think Israel will have to also take care the humanitarian crisis situation, and accordingly they must move ahead with their operation. Otherwise, they will face a lot of criticism, and the kind of action South Africa is taking at by raising up this issue at the international court. I think such more opposition voice of oppositions will emerge against Israel. So Israel will have to also be at the same time be careful while going ahead with their imperative to defeat Hamas.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.